1. APC FCT Geopolitical Zones Forum strategized to receive opposition member. FCT administration pushed to strengthen emergency healthcare delivery. And key stakeholders on development of Benue State converge on FCT to seal renewable energy deal.
Good afternoon and welcome to the news at 1 on the Unity Station, NTA Channel 5, Abuja. I am Rabiat Shaib. Let's begin. The Federal Capital Territory Administration has donated 12 ambulances to 14 hospitals in the FCT to boost emergency healthcare delivery for the residents. Onoze Yakubu was at the handover ceremony and brought back this report.
The FCT administration is actively engaged in enhancing its healthcare services across the territory. These include investment in infrastructure and the provision of essential medical equipment. This donation of ambulances to the healthcare facilities in the territory, stakeholders believe, will help to meet the emergency healthcare delivery needs of the residents.
That this administration has paid allowances that have been due, some even since 2021. I wish to particularly refer to the 13th month hazard allowance for healthcare workers and wage award, the medical residency training fund. I can confidently say that FCT is the only state that has paid all these allowances up to date.
For us in the WHO, we are committed to supporting the FCT administration in achieving its health goals, particularly in emergency preparedness and response.
Handing over the ambulances, the FCT Minister Yesen Wiki announced plans for the rehabilitation of 14 healthcare centers.
Every sector will be looked into. So many people are saying, why are we concentrating on road infrastructure? So many people are saying, why are we focusing on education? But people forget that these ambulances may break down when there are no good roads. When it is emergency period for you to convey patients and the roads are not workable condition, then the whole essence of the emergency vehicles becomes useless. So first thing first, and that's what we have been able to do.
All the benefiting 14 hospitals have taken delivery of the ambulances, which will ensure residents have access to effective emergency and routine medical care. Onoze Yakubu, NTA News.
And on the political front, Gariki Ward leadership of the All Progressive Congress has formally welcomed former member, House of Representatives in the Ninth Assembly, Micah Jiba, to the governing party, stressing the role of unity and harmony in advancing democracy. Deborah Gazadi Micah reports that APC leaders gave the former lawmaker a warm reception at the Apo Gariki Town Hall. A report.
The Apo Gariki Town Hall was filled with APC supporters as the party welcomed new members, including former member House of Representative Micah Jiba. Jiba's defection is seen as a significant boost for the All Progressive Congress, with party leaders expressing confidence that it will strengthen the party's chances in the forthcoming FCT Area Council election and the 2027 general elections. Minister of Special Duties and Intergovernmental Affairs, Zephaniah Gisalo, praised Micah Jiba for what he described as a bold and courageous decision. Gisalo called for unity within the party, stressing that the APC is well positioned to win the upcoming election.
Let me assure notify you that I've done all the process for the 6 area council chairmen to bring their councillors. I have given the chairmen who are contesting their role to play.
He also urged party leaders to reconcile with aggrieved members to ensure a united front. Speaking at the event, Micah Jiba said his decision to leave the People's Democratic Party for the APC was informed by his satisfaction with the current administration.
I take a painful decision after due consultation and consideration, particularly with my brother, the Honourable Minister.
In Abuja, Deborah Gazaji Micah, NTA News.
The All Progressive Congress FCT Geopolitical Zones Forum has called on the member representing Amak Buhari Federal Constituency, Joshua Chinedu Obika, to return to its fold and contribute to the renewed hope agenda of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. The forum made the call at a press briefing in Abuja. Onotu Yakubu reports.
I will tell you for free.
The forum said the call is coming against the backdrop of Representative Joshua Chinedu Obika's dedication to quality representation, which is reshaping developments of the FCT communities through empowerment of constituents and provision of projects in various communities. Secretary of the forum, Comrade Abdul Wahab Ekehide, who briefed journalists, said the aim is to further attract the goodwill of the renewed hope governance to the constituents and the country at large.
We recall that he was once a member of our great party before joining the opposition Labour Party. We believe it is time for him to return back home and contribute to the renewed hope agenda of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR. And for this reason, we are calling on him to return home to join President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's renewed hope agenda and also to be in good company of our leader, His Excellency Senator Hope Uzodinma, the Executive Governor of Imo State, who is currently mobilizing Nigerians for this cause.
Leader of the forum and former Vice Chairman AMAC, Lawrence Onochukwu, in the same light, assured that the doors of APC in FCT is open and will be ready to welcome Representative Obika with open arms if he hits the call.
You have our reason why we're calling him to come and join Mr. President to continue the good work of Renew Hope. So the people on the street will answer this question, and I'm very sure you'll be satisfied with the answer they will give you on the street, because Chinedu has done wonderfully well. And that's why we are calling him to stop wasting his energy and his capacity in that other party, to come and join his home and deliver dividends of democracy to good people of Amak Buhari.
Until his emergence as the Labour Party candidate and eventual victory in the 2023 general election, Representative Joshua Chinedu Obika was a member of the All Progressives Congress in the FCT. Onotu Yakubu, NTA News.
And now the Benue State Government and the Rural Electrification Agency, REA, in a high-level roundtable is looking to fast-track renewable energy development and expand electricity access across the state. Benue State Governor, Reverend Father Hyacinth Aliyah, says the initiative is key to driving his administration towards the state's economic growth, job creation, and improving the quality of life for its residents. Sandra Akeme brings us insights into the roundtable session.
Determined to unlock Benue State's vast economic potential, Governor Reverend Father Hyacinth Aliyah is positioning renewable energy as a critical driver of growth, industrialization, and rural development. At the heart of this vision is a strategic engagement with the Rural Electrification Agency, REA. For the Benue State government, the focus is clear: reliable power to strengthen agriculture, support agro-processing, grow small and medium-scale industries, and open up rural communities for investment and job creation.
This transition aligns not only with the nation's energy policy, but also with a global commitment to climate change, mitigations, and sustainable development.
Let us collaborate to build a sustainable future for Benue, a future that is not only bright, but also inclusive and equitable.
The Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of the REA, Dr. Abba Aliu, emphasized that the agency's solar mini-grid and off-grid solutions are designed to align with state development agendas, noting that strong state partnerships are key to delivering sustainable energy infrastructure.
And the entire funding that we have of over 1.something billion that Mr. President has provided Rural Electrification Agency, want to partner with the private sector to use that funding to deploy infrastructure in the Benue State.
Governor Alia reaffirmed Benue State's readiness to provide the enabling environment for renewable energy investment, describing electricity access as a foundation for economic diversification, food security, and improved living standards across the states.
Our presence here again is to build their confidence, to let them know that we're already at the threshold of getting them in to put their money where they can smile back. And so in a nutshell, we are quite prepared.
The engagement culminated in the signing of a memorandum of understanding between the Rural Electrification Agency and key stakeholders within Benue's renewable energy ecosystem, a milestone expected to accelerate clean energy deployment and translate policy into tangible development outcomes. In Abuja, Sandra Akeme, NTA News.
You are watching the news at 1 live on the Unity station, NTA Channel 5, Abuja. We have more stories coming your way right after this break.
Good evening. Glad to have you join us.
Thanks for joining us on Weekly News Wrap.
Thank you very much for having me.
And it is on that note we welcome you to today's edition of the program.
I will celebrate creativity, lasting impressions.
There's no book stating that this is the role for men.
On the news.
On the news at 7.
The Unity station, NTA Channel 5, Abuja.
Would say have a lovely day.
And now, commuters and road users plying the Nyanya-Karu axis woke up to an unusual traffic being experienced in recent times. Commuters and motorists say as early as 6 to 7 a.m., traffic has started building up, which they attribute to the routine monthly road work by the military. Samshuddin Usman brings us the situation report.
This morning, along the Nyanya-Karu axis, commuters and road users encountered an unexpectedly heavy traffic congestion, a situation that had not been customary in recent weeks. Accounts from individuals affected by the congestion highlighted that this disruption commenced as early as 6 to 7 a.m., a notably earlier onset than what is generally experienced. Numerous individuals attributed this increase in traffic to the regular monthly roadwork organized by the military, which frequently attracts substantial crowds and results in bottleneck along the typically busy routes. The anticipation of this event, while understood, did little to alleviate the frustrations of drivers and passengers alike.
But the traffic situation this morning is so terrible that we don't really know what the situation is, but later we discovered that it was army that were doing their monthly routine that blocked the road. So we waited, we suffered, a lot of people, to the extent most people were taking one way and the other. But we don't know what to do because they are security personnel.
Furthermore, road users recommended that the government consider exploring a range of strategies and innovative approaches to effectively address the issues which led to the traffic.
But I advise the federal government to think of other alternatives, like moving the monthly routine to back of Abuja barracks and the estates there, where they will move around because they have many roads there, they have fuel, they have everything there, that they can do it and allow the traffic to flow without anyone recognizing that the military are doing anything, and they will do it more better there.
Despite the traffic congestion, commuters were able to find their ways around to get to their workplaces and businesses. In Abuja, Shamsuddin Usman, NTA News.
And now, as Muslims prepare for the holy month of Ramadan, the Supreme Council for Sharia in Nigeria has called on religious leaders to mobilize their communities for peace, moral renewal, and national cohesion. At its 2026 annual pre-Ramadan lecture and General Assembly in Abuja, the Council also urged the federal government to take firmer steps in tackling the country's lingering security challenges. Yours truly now reports.
The Supreme Council for Sharia in Nigeria convened its 2026 annual pre-Ramadan lecture and General Assembly, bringing together Islamic scholars, public office holders, and delegates from across the country. The gathering, both spiritual and strategic in outlook, set out to prepare the Muslim community for the demands of the holy month, while confronting the realities facing the nation. President of the Council, Sheikh Bashir Aliyu Umar, urged religious leaders to rise beyond the pulpit and actively guide their communities towards righteousness, peace, and responsible citizenship.
You know, Nigeria is at a critical crossroads. We are bedeviled by so many very negative developments in our social life. And as Muslims, we are approaching the month of Ramadan, during which there is a lot of interaction between the ulama, the religious scholars, and the community in so many activities. So this is a time for renewal, and this is a time for the leadership, the religious leadership of Nigeria, to call on Muslims to reform themselves, turn to God in repentance and supplication, and also to critically have a positive outlook to the serious issues that are bedeviling our nation, so that the government will have the support of the citizenry, and the government in particular will adopt more people-centered policies that will guarantee security of lives, property, and dignity of all Nigerians.
Several speakers at the assembly echoed similar sentiments, describing the forum as a critical platform for reflection, dialogue, and policy direction for the Muslim community and the nation at large.
It's a time whereby there's a lot of challenges in the country, looking at some political instability, some calls from within and outside the country. But with this lecture, people will be guided so that we'll have a peaceful period, and then we'll have a Nigeria that can work for all of us.
The significance of this gathering is very, very paramount, and is very, very key for the unity of Muslim scholars in this nation.
As Ramadan approaches, the Council says the burden now rests on religious leaders and followers alike to turn words into conduct and prayer into purposeful action for a more peaceful society. In Abuja, Rabia Shaib, NTA News.
And the Veterinary Council of Nigeria has emphasized that curbing malpractices in animal husbandry and livestock production requires veterinary professionals to strengthen information gathering and thorough fact-finding on the harmful effects of these illegal practices. The call was made by the Registrar of the Council, Dr. Samuel Anzaku, during the second edition of the Veterinary Council of Nigeria Staff Retreat, where he stressed the need for improved regulatory awareness and professional responsibility within the sector. Wayne Dogo tells us more.
The Veterinary Council of Nigeria is a statutory body responsible for regulating and overseeing the practice of veterinary medicine across the country. Central to its mandate is setting of professional standards and determining the level of knowledge and skills required for registration into the profession. In a bid to strengthen these standards, address emerging challenges within the veterinary sector, and improve access to veterinary services, particularly for smallholder farmers, experts, and key stakeholders converge for strategic discussions and solution-driven dialogue. This engagement formed part of the second edition of the Veterinary Council of Nigerian Staff Retreat held under the theme Renewed Hope Agenda, the role of Veterinary Council of Nigeria.
Because it is the bane of our public service. You need to know exactly what you ought to do. Because if you don't know what you ought to do, it's going to be very difficult for you to really do it. So I think the gamut of what they've been taken through gives them a very fair idea as to what they ought to do to be able to be efficient in their services and uplift not just the council but the veterinary profession and animal healthcare delivery in the country.
The Nigerian veterinarians are actually some of the well-trained veterinarians across Africa. Unfortunately, we are denied even opportunity outside of our country because of these best practices we are talking about. One, if the VCN does its role, which we know they are trying, and is able to regulate the practice very well and get the best graduates out.
I don't know if you have heard about antimicrobial resistance. When you pump these birds, animals in general, with antibiotics, they tend to be resistant to it. And when they resist and resist, you find out that the disease you want to control can never be checkmated, posing health hazard to people that consume it.
Participants at the retreat were urged to deepen their professional knowledge and remain proactive in understanding the evolving nature of veterinary profession. Speakers emphasized that the challenges confronting the sector are complex and interconnected, requiring urgent, bold, and coordinated action across critical areas of human, animal, and environmental.
Well, at the end of the retreat, we have put a lot of topics together. The keynote speaker today gave us a very comprehensive keynote address, and in his keynote address, he addressed the staff that everybody should see themselves as relevant to the system. One of the things, personally, I believe is that nobody is useless in the system. Everybody is very important, starting from the top to the bottom. And that is why the retreat is not just for management staff, not just for some section, it's for everybody. So
actually, what prompted this retreat is because of the Renewed Hope Agenda. Because we function as an agency under the ministry. We have a supervising ministry, the Federal Ministry of Livestock and Development. And I want to thank the Honorable Minister and the PEMSEC for this opportunity to host a program like this.
In a move to further strengthen its institutional framework, the Council also officially unveiled its Occupational Safety and Health Unit. The initiative aimed at promoting workplace safety and staff well-being was pioneered by NYSC core member Fatima Ibrahim Bako of Ahmadu Bello University, who is currently serving with the Council. In Abuja, Wayne Lugo, NTA News.
And now let's join Hakimat Aliyu for business news.
Nigeria earned 55.5 trillion naira from crude oil sales in 2025. We have these and other stories for you on Business News this week. I'm Hakimat Aliyu Ibrahim. Please stay tuned. The federal government has approved the purchase of 2 new communication satellites to boost Nigeria's digital infrastructure and support President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's plan to grow the economy to 1 trillion naira. The Minister of Communication and Digital Economy, Mr. Bosun Tijani, disclosed these on Wednesday in Abuja at a press conference to mark Global Privacy Day 2026. Organized by the Nigerian Data Protection Commission. Tijani said the approval marked a significant shift in Nigeria's digital strategy, noting that the country currently stands out in West Africa for lacking active communication satellites, a gap the new assets are expected to address. And in another development, Nigeria earned an average of 55.5 trillion naira from crude oil sales in 2025, an analysis of official production figures released by the Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission and crude price data published by the Central Bank of Nigeria, as shown The 2025 figure is higher when compared to the 50.88 trillion earned in 2024. UPRC data indicates that Nigeria produced a total of 530.41 million barrels of crude oil between January and December 2025, with output fluctuating throughout the year amidst outages, operational disruptions, and a gradual recovery in some producing fields. And to our locally sourced report, the state of foreign direct investment in Nigeria and its impact on the nation's economic growth as President Bola Tinubu continues his international outreach to attract investors. The numbers tell a complex story of progress, challenges, and opportunities. It's over to Kama Kama for that report.
According to data from financial reports and other capital importation figures, in 2024, FDI in Nigeria was valued at under 1% GDP, a figure that reflects persistent structural constraint in the business environment. Today, we explore how sectors like telecommunications and constructions are faring and what this means for the average Nigerian.
That the government must be able to have a transparent, sustainable, long-term policies that will give people confidence that yes, if I plug my money in at the exit point, this is what I'm going to get, and within the period, I'm not going to have losses because of inconsistency in government policies.
And that does it for business news this week. It's back to the news studio for the continuation of the news.
Many thanks, Akimat. Up next, Sports Brief.
NTA News.
Nigeria's football governing body, the NFF, has stated it has a strong case in its petition to FIFA regarding the Democratic Republic of Congo's World Cup playoff victory. The NFF alleges DR Congo fielded ineligible players during the match that ended Nigeria's 2026 World Cup hopes. While FIFA has not yet issued a verdict, the NFF remains optimistic. If upheld, the petition could reinstate the Super Eagles into the Interconfederation playoffs scheduled for March 2026. Meanwhile, the Portuguese Football Federation has proposed a friendly match against Nigeria's Super Eagles on June 6, 2026. A game likely to be held in Lisbon is intended as a preparation for the upcoming FIFA World Cup. This follows Nigeria's impressive performance at the 2025 Africa Cup of Nations, which has attracted interest from top football nations. The last meeting between the two teams in 2022 ended in a 4-0 victory for Portugal. Lastly, Blackburn Rovers defender Ryan Alibiosu reflected on his wonderful debut for Nigeria at the AFCON 2025, where the team won bronze. He described making his senior international debut as a huge personal achievement, despite his tournament being cut short by injury. With Sports Brief, Wayne Review, NTA News.
And that's the news at 1 on the Unity Station, NTA Channel 5, Abuja. I am Rabiat Shaib.
For Allah, nothing but Allah. Ba is the beginning of Bismillah. Ta is for taqwa, bewaring of Allah. And Tha is for thawab, a reward.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Welcome to your weekly guide, Light of Islam. I am Aisha Ahmed.
As Muslims, we know that in Islam, time is a very good and important commodity that we have.
Believe in the angels of God as one of the 6 articles of faith.
Imam is made of 4 rows, and how the rows are made is such that the Imam stands in front and then right behind him.
Assalamu alaikum, this is Light of Islam. Keep watching Light of Islam, NTA channel.
That is for zakah to cure our greed when we give our money to those in need.
Relive your delightful moments via a telecast. Tell the world what gave you your happiness or pains, and for the how, where, and why. Share your joys of coronation, chieftaincy orders, engagement parties, traditional wedding ceremonies, weddings fatiha, nikah, naming ceremony, church programs, housewarming, inaugurations, award nights, school and social events, or moments of grief.
As for Allah, nothing but Allah. Ba is the beginning of Bismillah. Ta is for taqwa, bewaring of Allah. And Tha is for thawab, a reward. Ja is for Jannah, the garden of paradise. Ha is for Hajj, the blessed pilgrimage. Kha is for Khatam, the seal of the prophethood given to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. That is for Deen al-Islam, religion with Allah since time began. That is for dhikr, remembering Allah, and Ra is for the month of Ramadan.
May the peace and blessings of Allah Azza wa Jal be upon you all, and I welcome you to your weekly guide, Light of Islam. I am Aisha Ahmed. On today's episode of Light of Islam, we are going to be discussing on the other part of modesty, which is how to conduct yourself with dignity in terms of your speech. So today we are going to be looking at modesty in conduct. So, and our guide is going to be Imam Nurul Khalid. But before we join Imam Nurul Khalid, as always, you know, we start the program with the recitation from the glorious Quran. Let's do that now.
That is for zakah to cure our greed when we give our money to those in need.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم واصبر نفسك مع الذين يدعون ربهم بالغداة والعشي يريدون وجهه ولا تعد عيناك عنهم تريد زينة الحياة الدنيا ولا تطع من أغفلنا قلبه عن ذكرنا واتبع هواه وكان أمره فرطا وقل الحق من ربكم فمن شاء فليؤمن ومن شاء فليكفر إنا أعتدنا للظالمين نارا أحاط بهم سرادقها وإن يستغيثوا يغاثوا بماء كالمهل يشوي الوجوه بئس الشراب وساءت متفقا صدق الله العظيم.
That is for zakah to cure our greed when we give our money to those in need.
MashaAllah, that was the recitation from the glorious Quran there. I hope you also took part by joining her in the recitation. May Allah reward all of us. Ameen. And up next on the program is the discussion segment. And today is just like the previous week where we discussed about modesty hijab. And today we are still going to be continuing from where we stopped, especially on the Deen and Dunya segment. But today our guide on the discussion segment is Imam Nur Khalid, who is going to take us through modesty in terms of conduct. How do we conduct ourselves modestly in Islam? Stay tuned.
Is for salamun alaykum. Peace be with you. Alaykum assalam.
الحمد لله والشكر سرمدا هديت إلينا الإيمان منك تفضلا وأنزلت قرآنا وأرسلت أحمدا عليه صلاة الله ما شكره ألا وناديت اللهم يا خير سامع إذنا من التسميع قولا ومفعلا ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله ولي المؤمنين ونشهد أن سيدنا ونبينا وعظيمنا وحبيبنا وقائدنا وقدوتنا وأسوتنا محمد رسول الله صلى الله تعالى عليه وعلى آله وصحبه ورضي الله تعالى عن السادات التابعين والعلماء العاملين والأئمة الأربعة المجتهدين ومقلديهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. Amma Badu, viewers, you are welcome to yet another edition of Light of Islam. My name is Muhammad Nur Khalid, and I will be discussing with you at this point in time modesty in life from the Islamic point of view. We are going to look at the meaning of modesty and how modesty helps in building cordial relationship and promotes social cohesion. If we look at the meaning of modesty, according to many scholars, modesty is a quality of being unassuming, humble, and not boastful. This is the simple definition of modesty, or you can say humbleness. It also encompasses a sense of propriety in dress, speech, or even conduct. It often implies a lack of showy or ostentatious behavior. From this definition, we can see how Islam can be connected to modesty, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَلَا تَمْشِي فِي الْأَرْضِ مَرَحًا. Do not walk boastfully on earth. This implies that even in your walk, the way you move among people should show a sign of modesty. You are nothing but servant of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Allah says, وَإِبَادُ الرَّحْمَنِ الَّذِينَ يَمْشُونَ عَلَى الْأَرْضِ هَوْنًا. The servants of Allah are those who move around the land in a gentle manner. There are many key aspects of modesty, including humility. What will help you to create a sense of humility in life is to remember always you are nothing other than servant of Allah. And no matter how powerful you think of yourself, there are somebody who is more powerful than you. If you are knowledgeable, remember that وَمَا أُوتِيتُم مِّنَ الْعِلْمِ إِلَّا قَلِيلًا. You were given nothing in terms of knowledge except a very little. If you are rich, consider your wealth. You will understand that there are some people who are richer than you. Modesty helps in building social cohesion, because when you respect people and humiliate yourself and consider them important, they will equally respect you and consider you important. But when you boast out and think that you are more than somebody, he will now turn back and say you are nothing. And that is why, if we want to create more social cohesion in the society, we can say that religion in general and Islam in particular is not far away from being humble, and is not far away from the act of modesty. Align with the culture of the people you are living with is very important. Don't show them that you are above them. You have a culture of wearing what is better than their own. The bottom line of what we are saying is peaceful coexistence is very important in creating a good and cordial society. We are suffering from conflicts, especially violence conflicts. We need to create modesty as part of our own contribution in